Franco, have you heard of the Scopolamine queen being arrested?
Which one?
Exactly, which one of the many that have been busted recently? The city has taken down and has cracked down on these gangs that operate by hiring women that are very beautiful to seduce foreigners, drug them, and rob them, either in their hotel room or in their Airbnb, etc. Even the mayor himself has been keeping count on this, and that's what we're starting with in this episode of the Good Life podcast here in Medellin, Colombia. I'm Andrew.
I'm Francisco.
And yeah, we're gonna get to the good stuff. This is the Good Life podcast where we only talk about good things happening in Medellin. For those of you guys that are watching the public video, just know that there's an extended version of this conversation in the members only section. You can go check that out by clicking the join button down below. Franco, go first.
I tried out a new burger spot, and it's the first time that it arrived here to Medellin. It's called Bubu. The new hotel in Barrio Manila called The Cut, which allegedly Maluma is invested in that hotel. What I like about this spot is that they have Wagyu beef patties, and this burger that I had was so good. The sauce that they have, it's their in-house sauce that they make. I'm gonna go back there for sure to try out more hamburgers. What about your two good things, Andrew?
Yeah, so the first one is we have a Medellin Masterclass meetup every other month. And yesterday we had one at a restaurant called Malevo. It's an Argentinian restaurant in Barrio Manila. 10 of us showed up from the Masterclass, which, by the way, our Masterclass has grown pretty well. We've got over, I think, 60 people now.
Yeah, I think it's just about 60 people.
Yeah. The interesting part is that I had two really good conversations. The first one is a retired couple. He's a Marine, she's Colombian, but grew up in the United States, and they've been married for many years.
Yeah.
They were living in a suburb, I believe in Florida. So the husband told me that, you know, living in that suburb was basically like living in the coffin, meaning that you're just waiting to die because it was like a 55 and older community.
Couple. Yeah.
So super quiet. You can hear a pin drop, no real life. He said that he feels much more full of life here.
Yeah.
And he told me his story about dying in 2022.
Wow.
Yeah, he died in 2022. He had a heart attack, and it took them 30 minutes to resuscitate him.
So he was dead for 30 minutes.
Yeah, that was my reaction. I'm like, so my first question was like, do you remember any of it?
Yeah.
And he actually said yes, he remembered two things. He said that one, a demon came to him to take him. And
demon
then,
or an angel?
I don't know. He said it was like a dark presence.
Okay.
And then he said that the devil himself came to take him. I'm like, man, what'd you do when you were in the Marines?
Yeah, that's...
But anyway, the whole point is that he had this near-death experience. And, you know, after reflecting on that and realizing that your life is too short to be just wasting away in like a retirement community in Florida where you can be living your life in Colombia, in Medellin particularly. So for them, they bought a house out here. They live in the hills of El Poblado, I believe, and they're full of life now. That they're
good for them, yeah.
So that was a really good conversation. The next one was with a guy that's down here. He has two children and a wife, and they're all American, meaning that they have no tie to Colombia, which was the most interesting part for me, where it's like usually someone, you know, you have some sort of tie to Colombia if you're coming down here to retire, to move, especially if you're a family.
Yeah.
He's a very successful entrepreneur, and he's down here doing recon. He's also military, ex-military, schools, where they're going to buy their property.
Yeah.
They had already scoped out a couple of different cities in different countries, and they landed on Medellin.
I was going to ask you, did he mention like what cities did he compare Medellin to?
A couple of cities in Mexico. Fell in love with Medellin, and so he's doing the first round of recon right now.
Yeah.
He's here for about a month. They're all going to be coming over here during the summer.
Yeah, summer break.
To make their final decision, but he's very gung-ho about moving down here and having his kids grow up bilingual. So now I want to go back to where we started, the Scopolamine Queen, because this hits me a little bit more personal, and I've never shared this before on a video, and I'm going to do that right now. So I know 4 people that have been drugged and robbed here in the 16 years I've lived here. I know it seems like a little, but I just don't really hang out with that crowd that gets drugged and robbed. 2 of which have stayed after the incident, and then 2 that just left for good. But the one that I want to share about is the one that was the hardest hitting for me. He was from Southern California, entrepreneur, pretty successful. So this guy was partying all day on a Friday, starting Friday afternoon into Saturday morning. And when I say partying, I mean drinking and doing drugs. 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning comes around and he wants to continue when everyone's going home.
Yeah.
And he goes out to Parque Lleras and picks up 2 hookers. There's multiple red flags here, guys. If you know the red flags as I'm going through this, you could put them in the comments. So he was staying in an Airbnb. There was no security guard. It was just like a touchpad there. They went in, partied in his apartment, drugged him, robbed him, took his laptop, cell phone, and some cash that he had there. And he was out, right? He doesn't remember any of that part.
Yeah.
What happened next was what really surprised me. They left with his cell phone and his computer. 8 or 10 hours later, the next day or that morning, they came back to the apartment.
They came back?
Yeah, he was still in a haze. He was still drugged, and he let them in. In his mind, he thought like that they had never left.
Yeah, okay.
So they came back because they needed access to his crypto wallets. They figured out that he had crypto on his cell phone.
Yeah.
And authorized transfers. Guess how much money they stole from him?
$50,000.
Nope.
More.
$200,000.
$200,000
was taken from him
and this was
that night. So obviously he was devastated after this, and he's one of the people that don't live here anymore after that. There has to be thousands of druggings and these type of robberies that go unreported. And in 2024, 39 of those passed away. That was the official number. And in 2025, there is no official number as to how many passed away. The stats that are out indicate that it's less than 39, so at least there has been an improvement. Remember, we're talking about the good stuff that happens here. So let's talk about the good things that have happened because of this. Before I get to that, let me talk about this guy named Velasquez. I didn't know this guy. He was an Ecuadorian, 37 years old. He came down here with his family for Christmas. His name is Javier Vasquez. He went out one night by himself and he didn't come back that night. And obviously a search went underway because the family reported it to the authorities.
That's awful.
And unfortunately, they found his lifeless body in a hotel room. And here's what happened. Within days of finding him in that hotel room, they found and arrested the scopolamine queen, a 27-year-old Colombian, the head of a ring, of an all-female ring, by the way, gang, that was doing this to foreigners throughout the years. She had criminal history dating back to 2017, and she was on the radar for this type of crime since 2022. And they finally found her after this pretty high-profile case. But here's the good part. She was charged and arrested in 2025, and then June 3rd of 2025, 3 women, which formed a group called Las Mamacitas that were doing the exact same thing, get charged and convicted and are now serving time. And Franco, I'm sure you've heard of the American Airlines flight attendant, Eric, who was drugged and robbed and found dead.
Yeah.
I'm willing to bet that within the next month or so, we will hear of who it was and how they're being brought to justice. And the mayor, Fico, said that in the case of Eric, he said that this case will not go unpunished. So the pattern is clear. We're talking about La Reina de la Scopolamina caught, Las Mamacitas caught, Los Calvos caught. The Fiscalia has charged, the DA has charged these people, arrested them, put them in court, put them on trial, and they're serving time. And overall crime in Medellin in 2025 was down. In 2024, it was down 44% from 2023. And me and Franco here, 26 years combined, 16 here, 10 here. He's married, he's got a dog.
Yeah, you have a kid.
I've got Lorenzo. Our parents are here, they've retired down here. We've got 4 businesses together and 0 incidences. Talking about that, have you ever had any close calls?
I've never had any close calls.
Any tips that you would give anybody?
Any tips, especially when it comes to meeting women, if they suggest a location to where to meet, that's a red flag, and you should stop. Okay. And because that just means that like whoever's going to be at that area, that restaurant, they're already in on it too.
Right.
And you should be able to be the one that controls the setting and the date. So if you go and say, hey, let's go meet at this bar, and you guys do end up going to that bar, but then throughout the day, she's like, you know what, this is boring. Let's go to this restaurant that my friend knows. Or, oh, I know of this place just down the street. stop that, I would just cut the date off immediately and
Yeah.
and go home. This other tip is a little bit tricky, especially if you're new to the city, is vetting where the girl that you're talking to, where she's from, what estrato she lives in. If she comes from a lower income neighborhood, because a lot of these girls that are doing these type of crimes, they usually come from these lower income neighborhoods.
Yeah, I think La Reina de Escopolamina was caught in Itagüí. That's where she lived.
Yeah.
And then the other, like the Mamacitas or something, were near Manrique.
Yeah.
Those are Estrato 3 and below neighborhoods. You know, and some people may ask, like, well, if I need to know all this just to go out there and be a man and just date,
Yeah.
is it even worth going out there?
No, it's not worth it, because if that's too much work for you, then you'll just be the next person on the news.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I wasn't going to be so blunt, but I guess we should be blunt. If you think this is too much for you and you're questioning if it's worth it, it's not worth it.
Yeah.
Go to Thailand. Go date your women somewhere safe if you're not willing to go through this or to take this advice. I agree with that. Okay, so we're continuing with the positives. In 1991, the murder rate, which is how many murders per 100,000 people that were here at the time, was 416 to 100,000, which was the highest in the world. It was the murder capital of the world, Medellin, Colombia. In 2024, the murder rate was 11 to 100,000. That's a 97% decrease in 30 years. In the history of the world, of the recorded history of the world, nothing like that has ever happened. And something that a lot of people don't know is that there are multiple cities in the United States that actually have a higher murder rate than Medellin, Colombia,
Really?
including, New Orleans, Detroit, Baltimore,
Okay.
Memphis. These are cities that are pretty famous. I mean,
Yeah.
I know baseball teams and basketball teams from each one of those that I would go watch.
Yeah.
And then hearing this, I'm like, man, there's got to be some really shady people living in those areas.
Yeah. And what's funny is that what I see on the internet are people from those cities asking if Medellin is safe.
Yeah, even Washington, D.C., which
Yeah.
has a higher murder rate than our capital of Colombia, Bogota,
Yeah.
asking if Colombia is safe. Like, we should be asking you if where you're from is safe
Yeah.
at this point. But I guess that's kind of like how the world works. Even though things have progressed in Medellin in the last 30 years, people still view it as that dangerous place. Since I got here in 2010, Medellin is at its safest point. It's not only what I feel, it's actually what the stats provide.
Yeah.
Armed robberies are down, thefts are down, petty crime is down, motorcycle thefts are still high, but car robberies are at an all-time low. I can walk out in the street at night, whereas back in 2010, I probably wouldn't be walking out with my DJI and my gimbal, walking around the street into
Yeah.
the evening and sometimes even at night. Obviously, we're sitting out here in my apartment complex, my kid's playing back there with his nanny, and we're doing this podcast and without a care in the world, right?
And how about this? The United Nations, UNESCO, they named Medellin the World Book Capital for 2027.
The book capital.
Yes.
That's interesting because I do know that Colombians love to read.
Yes.
Like physical books. Like you'll go into the metro and you'll see at least a couple people reading.
Yeah, you'll see people reading, but what maybe you haven't seen, for 7 decades, Medellin, 546% increase of bookstores opening.
Another fact, National Geographic, National Geographic.
Of course, who doesn't?
They named Medellin number 22 destination for travel in the world.
In the world. That's amazing. Yeah, because you have cities like Milan, Tokyo, and it's awesome to see Medellin combined right there next to those cities. Do you know EDC?
EDC, what?
The Electronic Daisies Carnival.
Okay, EDC, yes. I'm not an electronic guy, but I know that that's a huge festival.
It's the largest festival they host. It started back in LA. They go tour around the US, Las Vegas, Miami, I think. They're coming down to South America, and they chose Medellin to be the hub of electronic music in October.
Are you going to go?
No, I'm not going to go. I mean, it's an amazing story. It's great. I know friends that will go, but it's not my type of scene.
Yeah, I mean, we're rock guys, as you guys know, if you've been watching this podcast.
Yeah.
But yeah, but EDC, maybe I'll go. It sounds like fun. I mean, I'm sure
there'll be at the stadium.
Be a lot of people there to meet.
Yeah.
A lot of beautiful people to meet because they go in costumes. I've seen the pictures.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. And it's the same city where Eric passed away, Javier Vasquez passed away. My friend who got $200,000 of crypto stolen from him. I don't want to demean their story. I think it's very important that people hear about it, learn about it, and are aware that this happens out here. But I also want to focus on the positive things that have happened, which we mentioned. These cases are getting solved. People are getting tried and going to jail. Beyond that, the city is growing. It's gotten safer, and we are proof of it.
Yeah, big institutions are recognizing Medellin, and
right. Medellin isn't perfect. It's not paradise yet, but it's getting there. Every year is getting better.
And that's a good life.
Let us know what you guys think about this topic in the comments below. We're very active. We'll see you guys in the next video. Saludos.